In this lecture, we will talk about y equals 2 times tang x minus pi over 3. We'll see how this graph look like and how those two constants like negative pi over 3 and 2 come into play in tang x. Before we do that, we like to review tang x a little bit. Okay. We did graph y equals tang x. Those are the special values. Starting with negative pi over 2 to the positive pi over 2, we have from negative pi over 2 to the positive pi over 2, we have a tang x in this area, in this part. That's a one period. Okay, you can move like that. That's another period. Okay, and you can also move to the left. That's another period. Negative pi over 2, when t choose this value, and tangent t is not defined. That's why we have asymptote here. Okay, and then for negative pi over 4, when t equals that, where tangent t is -1. Okay, so that's why we have a negative pi over 4, -1. This point is on the picture. Okay, and the negative pi over 4 is approximately -0.79 or -0.8, and you can see is right here. Okay, it's close to -0.8 because here is 0, here is -1. So 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8. Okay, so this point is on the tangent line. And then for pi over 6, you see x equals pi over 6. Pi over 6 is approximately 0.52. And the vertical is 0.52 or 0.58. Yeah, 0.52. Okay, 0.52. So here is 0.2, 0.4, 0.6. So 0.52 is roughly here. Okay, and then when t equals pi over 6, tangent t is 1 over radical 3. Radical 1 over radical 3 is approximately 0.58. So 0.58 is about here. Okay, because here is 0.4, here is 0.8. Okay, so 0.52 is about here. 0.58, this one is about here. So this point is on the line. So we reviewed negative pi over 4 and -1, and then we reviewed pi over 6 and 1 over radical 3. Of course, when x choose 0, you have tangent t is 0. Okay, you may wonder again, how come tang pi over 6 is 1 over radical 3? Again, pi over 6 is 30 degrees. Okay, pi over 3 is 60 degrees because pi is 180 degrees. Okay, remember those two are different. Denominator is 6, then you got 30 degrees. Denominator is 3, you got 60 degrees. You may wonder why tangent 30 degrees is 1 over radical 3. Again, use this one. Okay? 30 degrees, tangent is opposite side over adjacent. So 1 over radical 3. It's quite clear. Okay? So that's why I keep using this ruler. Okay? Again, you may check 60 degrees. Pi over 3 is 60 degrees. 60 degrees, and then tangent is this side over this side for 60 degrees because tangent is always opposite side over adjacent. For 60 degrees, the opposite side is radical 3 over 1, so that's why you got that. This ruler is very helpful. Okay, yeah, you almost got all, you have got all the special values from this ruler. Okay, so we reviewed this one, this pair, and this pair. Okay, on the picture. Now, let's look at the one we want to talk about today. Today, you know, we'll start with, let's see, with the undefined or asymptote. If x choose negative pi over 6, then x minus pi over 3 equals what? Let me do a little bit calculation right here. Okay, so you have a negative pi over 6. Okay, this is your x. Okay, and then minus pi over 3. Minus pi over 3. What is that? You put 2 here, you put 2 here. And then you see there is a 1 in front of it. Okay, denominators are 6, and then negative 1, negative together is negative 3 pi. Denominator is 6, and you reduce it. That will be what? Negative pi over 2. That's this one. Then x minus pi over 3 is negative pi over 2. You probably remember negative pi over 2 is not defined for tangent x. Okay, because this is the point, asymptote. So, the first point actually I chose was negative pi over 6. And this is actually the asymptote place. Okay, now, when x is 0, then minus negative pi over 3. 0 minus negative pi over 3 is negative pi over 3. Negative pi over 3 is negative 60 degrees. Okay? Negative 60 degrees, if you remember the picture, you see pi over 3 negative. Right here, that's 60 degrees. Okay? And then you can see that will be what? That will be negative radical 3 over 2 divided by positive 1/2. Okay, so down here you can see you can put tangent negative pi over 3 is negative radical 3 over 2 divided by 1/2. You have a negative positive, so you know it's negative. and then you cancel 2, you have a radical 3, negative. Okay? Alright. You may have some details right here why you can cancel these 2. And you can check the previous notes down here. I made it. Okay? But you know, the thing is that if you have a negative pi over 3, you have a negative radical 3. That's what I needed for tangent 60 degrees. Now, another thing is that you can use the ruler. 60 degrees, you know, here negative 60 degrees, we consider positive. And then you have a radical 3 over 1. Tangent is always opposite side over adjacent. So radical 3 over 1 is just radical 3. And you have a negative angle here, so you put negative in front of it. Okay. Basically, what it says here is what? Is tangent negative t equals negative tangent t. This is what it is true all the time. It is true all the time. It is true. It is always true. It's a formula. Okay, we tested with negative pi over 3 just now. You may test negative pi over 6 also. Go back to review the previous picture, like this one. Okay, I showed you. Because y is positive, another y is negative, denominator is positive, so you get negative. On the right down here, you have both positives. Okay. All right. Now we are clear about when x is 0, then you have a x minus pi over 3 is just pi over 3, and tangent negative pi over 3 is negative radical 3. And you have a 2 here, so times 2 positive, then you have a final answer negative 2 radical 3, which is approximately negative 3.46.